They said I was just being dramatic after I froze my card. But it was my name on the 14K helicopter, a luxury birthday party for my brother's kid, a video captioned "We're family funded," and me, the one who paid for it all without ever being asked. When I demanded accountability, they called it betrayal. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Caleb, 31. I own a small car wash and used to believe being steady meant always saying yes. The day the credit card bill arrived, I was eating a peanut butter sandwich in the wash office and watching a spider spin a web between the vending machine and the mop bucket. I like spiders. They mind their business. The envelope had that weight to it, like it already knew it was going to ruin my afternoon. I slid it open with my box cutter and saw the balance, 14 sub 1236. I blinked. My first thought was that the hospital had mischarged something, maybe double billed for the scans, or included that mini apple juice Mom likes and they think it's gold-plated. I flipped the pages, looking for the breakdown. And then I saw it. The vendor name, Rotor Motion Aviation Services. I sat down, hard. The kind of sit you do when gravity isn't optional anymore. The helicopter, the party, the damn video. That stupid grin on Mason's face when he said, "Thanks to your card, bro." I thought he was joking. I even laughed. "My card has $200 on it. Did you check the name?" He grinned like he always does when he thinks he's charming and maybe a little too proud of himself. Mom, who had been rifling through her purse for tissues, pulled out a sealed bank envelope like it was a winning lottery ticket she forgot to scratch. "Oh, you had another one," she said, like that made it better. "A business card, right? The one from the bank?" The room froze. Not loud, just still, like the world was holding its breath. I took the envelope. My name was on it. My address. The bank's neat logo. Inside was a pristine, untouched credit card with a blue shimmer, the kind they market as starter cards, for people with small businesses and big dreams. I looked at Mason. He shrugged. "It was just the deposit, man. You're getting it all back. Sponsors, remember?" I looked at Mom. Her mouth was tight, eyes darting. "Not sorry, just caught." And that was the moment, right there, the pivot, the click of something locking into place in my chest. Not anger, not yet, just understanding, quiet and sharp. I said nothing. I tucked the card into my wallet like a weapon I never wanted to use, picked up the grocery bag I brought, and walked out. I drove to the car wash in silence, hands tight on the wheel, teeth grinding like gears that needed oil. When I got there, I opened the office, sat at the desk, and stared at the coin counter while it blinked at me like a metronome. Then I opened the bank app, stared at the transaction list, and started counting backwards. Not dollars, but decisions. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not really. You don't rest easy when you realize your family's been making withdrawals from your life like it's a shared savings account with no PIN. Instead, I paced. Cleaned the kitchen until the grout sparkled. Stared at the ceiling until the shadows looked like ledgers. The party video played in my head on a loop. Helicopter blades slicing air. Confetti. Mason with his influencer voice shouting, "We do it big." And the caption, "Shark family funded." That one stung, not just because it was true, but because it had a ring to it, like they'd already packaged my generosity into a slogan. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I stopped at the diner near the wash, the one where Dolores always calls me honey and slides extra napkins like she's protecting me from life. She poured coffee without asking. "You look like you've been thinking too much," she said. I didn't answer, just nodded. She slid me a sticky note with her cousin's lawyer's number written in red pen. I didn't even ask for it. Just tucked it into my wallet next to the card that now felt radioactive. At 10:12 a.m., I called the bank. The hold music was a slow, jazzy version of "Don't Worry, Be Happy," which felt like a threat. After 8 minutes, a voice named Jasmine answered. She verified my identity and asked what the call was regarding. I told her I needed to report unauthorized charges on a new card. Okay, she said cheerfully. Do you have the card number? I gave it. All right, Jasmine said, typing. Looks like you activated this card 2 weeks ago. No, I said. I never opened the envelope. Someone else did. A pause, then a shift in her tone, like she sat up straighter. Were they authorized to use the card? No. More typing. Did they have your permission? No. Can you identify the charge in question? Yes, rotor motion aviation, $1,400. Silence. Sir, Jasmine said after a beat. That's unusual. Yeah, I said. So's watching your brother spend 5 years of quarters on a birthday stunt. She chuckled once. Understood. I'll mark this for dispute. You'll need to submit a formal statement. In the meantime, I'm freezing the card. I exhaled like I'd been holding my breath since the party. After I hung up, I stared at the muted family group chat lighting up my phone. Messages stacked like guilt bricks. We need to talk. Just call him back. It's not that serious. My favorite. You're acting weird. Weird. Right. Because normal is letting your name bankroll someone else's spotlight. I muted the chat. Then I did the most rebellious thing I'd done all year. I went to the gym. I benched my exact anger, rode through every memory of being the fallback plan, and ran until my lungs begged me to stop. That night I made dinner for one. Steak, green beans, mashed potatoes. Not because I needed the calories, but because I needed the control. You don't realize how often you eat standing up, fixing everyone else's mess, until you sit down just for yourself. My phone buzzed again. Mason. Bro, seriously? You froze the card? I didn't answer. Instead, I leaned back, turned on music I liked, and finished my dinner. Silence didn't mean surrender. It meant I was finally choosing me. Saturday, 7:42 a.m. The first car pulled into the bay. Old Silverado, dented fender, loyal as a dog. I knew the guy by the sound his engine made when he idled too long. He waved. I waved back. Normal, predictable, safe. The kind of morning that made sense. Until Mason showed up. No call, no text. Just his SUV sliding in like it was auditioning for a commercial. Door flung open. Designer hoodie. Sunglasses too big for the weather. He swaggered toward me like nothing had happened, like the air wasn't still thick with the stink of what he'd done. I brought coffee, he said, holding out a cup like that would settle the national debt. I didn't take it. He sighed and placed it on the ledge by the coin machine. Okay, I get it. You're mad. I wiped my hands on a rag. I'm not mad. I'm done. Bro, he groaned. It's just money. No, I said. It's just yours now. He blinked. Confused, like someone swapped his script mid-scene. You think I'm overreacting, I continued. But you didn't just swipe a card. You swiped trust. You went into my life, picked out the part that still had space, and filled it with your fireworks. I said I'd pay you back, he snapped. When? I asked. After your sponsor comes through? After the next video? After you decide it matters again? He threw up his hands. You think I'm just some leech, don't you? I think you're used to everyone else patching your holes. We stood there, two brothers with the same eyes and opposite lives. The wash hissed behind us. Water against metal. A cleansing sound that didn't reach us. Mason softened. Just a bit. Look, it was for the kids. They had the best day ever. I'm not mad at the kids, I said. But memories shouldn't be made on someone else's balance. I thought it was your business card, he offered weakly. I laughed, sharp and humorless. Yeah. Business, as in, not your business. Then Mom showed up, like she always did, when things got tense, when Mason needed backup, when I was just about to walk away. She climbed out of Dad's car slowly, coat crooked, lips pressed in that apologetic line I knew too well. Boys, she said, let's not do this here. Mason turned to her. Tell him, Mom. Tell him we didn't mean harm. She looked between us. The tilt of her head said she was tired of being referee. "Caleb," she said softly, "maybe we went too far. But you freezing the card like that, it embarrassed Mason, it embarrassed all of us." And there it was. Not sorry, just embarrassed. I stared at her. This woman I'd driven to every appointment, sat beside in every fluorescent room. I thought of the soup days, the envelopes, the quarters, and now this. "I covered your scans," I said. "I stocked your meds. I cleaned the kitchen while you cried into towels." "I know," she whispered. "And you let him turn my help into a flex." Silence. Then Mason, desperate. "What do you want from me, man?" I looked him in the eye. "An invoice. With your name on it, not mine." Mason left in a huff. Not dramatic enough for a movie, but enough tire squeal to let everyone know he was wounded. Mom stayed. She sat on the bench outside Bay 4, folding her hands like she was in church. I let her sit. I cleaned the foam cannon again, even though it didn't need it. Some things you do just to delay the next thing. "You're mad at all of us," she finally said. "No," I replied, crouching beside the bucket. "I'm just not letting you all pick the menu and hand me the bill." She flinched, but didn't deny it. "You know why it hurts?" I asked, standing. "Because I didn't expect it from you." Her voice was small. "I thought it wouldn't matter. I thought you'd understand." "I do understand. I understand you made a choice. I wasn't asked. I was informed." She exhaled. "I didn't mean to make you feel used. But I do." We stood there, morning chill rising between us. I watched her fingers twist the edge of her sleeve. Something she used to do when she was trying not to cry during Dad's rants at the dinner table. I remembered being 8, offering her a cookie when I didn't have words. I didn't have a cookie now. Just honesty. "I love you," I said, "but I'm not a spare credit line for other people's dreams." She nodded slowly, then looked down. "I found the envelopes." I frowned. "What envelopes?" "The ones you gave me. Over the years. With quarters, cash, grocery money, birthday cards for the kids with 20s inside. I saved some, not all, but enough to remember." Her voice cracked. "I let your help become expected. I let Mason think that you'd always absorb the blow." "You did more than let," I said. "You handed him the hammer." She winced. "I'm not asking you to take sides," I added. "I'm asking you to tell the truth, to yourself, to me." "To him." She looked up. Her eyes were glassy but sharp. "The truth is, you were easier to lean on because you never broke." "I did," I said. "You just didn't hear it." She reached out and squeezed my wrist. "I'm sorry, Caleb. I am. You shouldn't have had to carry us this long." I nodded once. "Thank you. That matters." Then I said something I hadn't planned. "I need space, Mom. Not forever, but real space. Time where I'm not responsible for making things okay." She nodded again, slower. "You deserve that." We sat in silence for a few minutes. The wash beeped a low alarm. Bay 2 was done. A squirrel darted across the lot with a crust of bread in its mouth. Life, doing its thing. She stood, smiled faintly. "I'll see you Monday. For billing." I nodded. "Monday at 9. She walked to her car, shoulders lower than usual, but not in defeat. In relief. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to follow her home and fix whatever came next. Monday came quiet and early. I parked outside the hospital billing office at 8:57 a.m. sharp. Mom was already waiting on the bench with a folder in her lap and a to-go cup from the gas station across the street. She smiled when she saw me, the kind that didn't stretch too far or hide too much. Just honest. She was tired, and I didn't ask her to pretend otherwise. Inside, the billing lady wore a cardigan that looked soft enough to sleep in and glasses that made her seem like she knew every dollar personally. She welcomed us like we were returning customers, which we technically were. "Let's see," she said, flipping open a chart. "Ah, the Patel account. We made some progress since last time." Mom stiffened beside me, like the name account made her a number. I leaned forward. We're looking to finalize a payment plan today. But first, we'd like an itemized bill. The woman raised her brows slightly, surprised. Absolutely, that's your right. She printed it out. 23 pages. Codes and jargon and mysterious $78 supplies we couldn't remember using. I circled the duplicate labs. She nodded. That's a mistake. We'll fix it. After a few corrections and a surprising removal of something listed as consultation bundle, the total dropped by over 1,000. Mom exhaled like she'd been holding it since August. We set up a plan. 0% wasn't an option, but they gave us the lowest rate possible, 3.9%. I agreed to cover the monthly payment and initial down. Not because I was guilted, because I chose it. And that distinction mattered more than anything. In the parking garage, Mom leaned against the car, eyes still on the paperwork. When did you get so good at this? She asked. Counting quarters, I said, unlocking the door. She smiled, the soft kind that lives in the corners of your mouth and nowhere else. The next few days were quiet, which meant, in our family, something was brewing. Wednesday, Mason posted a video titled, "When Family Turns Cold, The Cost of Doing Good." I didn't watch it. A friend from high school sent a clip anyway, him standing in front of a park fountain talking about how some people don't understand the power of investing in joy. There were slow-motion shots of the birthday party, my niece smiling, my nephew dancing under confetti, music swelling like he was in a Disney original. Comments were predictable. You're a hero, man. Haters always come for the givers. Family drama is so toxic. Stay shining. He didn't say my name, but he didn't have to. I was the unnamed villain in the influencer fairy tale. I turned off notifications and kept my hands busy. Replaced a coin hopper in Bay 1. Tightened the seals in Bay 3. Life kept moving. Friday, Mom called. Your father wants to have dinner Sunday, she said cautiously. Just us. He said it's time. That's rich, I said. He's had time. He just hasn't used it. Would you come? I hesitated. I won't let it become a pile-on, she added. But he's quieter lately. I could already hear the tone. The "you hurt your brother" sermon with a "why are you so cold" benediction. Still, I said yes. Not for Dad. For her. But I brought my own fork to that table. And this time, I wasn't there to eat guilt. Sunday dinner looked the same as it always had. Brown table, low lighting, plates that had survived 2 decades of Patel Thanksgivings. But something about the air was different, thinner, like the room had been holding its breath for weeks. Dad sat at the head of the table, sleeves rolled to his elbows, eyes on the mashed potatoes like they owed him money. Mom moved quietly between the kitchen and the dining room, setting plates with care, humming something that sounded like pretending. I brought a fruit salad, not because anyone asked, but because it let me arrive with full hands and fewer expectations. We sat. Dad cleared his throat. How's the wash? I blinked. Busy. Winter's coming. Salt season. He nodded. You replaced that busted nozzle on Bay 3? I did. 2 weeks ago. But this was how he talked. Questions as olive branches, small talk as truce offers. Then he looked at me. Really looked. Your mom tells me you've been helping with billing. Yep, I said, stabbing a piece of carrot. Got the total down. Made a plan. That's good, he said, voice like gravel. Appreciate it. The words didn't stick. They hovered between us, awkward and temporary. But they existed, and that was new. We ate in silence for a while. Mom passed the rolls. Dad reached for the gravy. Just when I thought we might survive the night on starchy distractions, he put down his fork and leaned back. Your brother feels betrayed. I didn't flinch. Because I wouldn't let him steal from me, I asked. Dad's eyes narrowed. You embarrassed him publicly. No, I said calmly. He did that. I just stopped letting him do it quietly. Mom looked between us, lips pressed. Family forgives, Dad said. We don't hold grudges. Family also asks first, I replied. He didn't. You didn't. You all just took. You're making it sound ugly. It is ugly. You just dressed it in cake and confetti. He leaned forward. You've always been the steady one, the calm one. Don't let that turn into cruelty. I laughed. Holding people accountable isn't cruelty, it's clarity. His jaw clenched. You're sounding self-righteous. And you're sounding like someone who hasn't had to pay for a party he didn't throw. We stared at each other across a bowl of roasted potatoes. Years of unspoken debt sat between us. Then he looked down. Your mom says you need space. That true? Yes. How much? As much as it takes for you all to stop seeing me as a tool. The room went quiet. Mom cleared her throat. You've helped this family more than anyone. We know that. I raised an eyebrow. Do you? I do, she whispered. Now. Dad didn't speak again until dessert. He didn't touch the pie. When I stood to leave, he nodded once. Not warm, not hostile, just noted. On my way out, Mom hugged me by the door. I meant what I said, I told her. I'm not disappearing, but I'm not available like before. She nodded. You're building something better. I can feel it. I got in my truck, turned the key. My phone buzzed. Mason. Dinner go well? You win the family debate? I didn't answer, because it wasn't a debate. It was a boundary. Wednesday morning. The foam cannon jammed again. Bay 2. Always Bay 2. I was elbow deep in soapy pressure lines when my phone buzzed with a new voicemail from an unknown number. For a second, I thought, please don't be another cousin with a long story and a short wallet. But when I hit play, it was Jasmine from the bank. Hi, Caleb. Just wanted to confirm that your fraud dispute has been resolved. The charge has been reversed, and the card is officially closed. You'll receive a formal letter in the mail. Thanks again for your patience and your thoroughness. I stood there, arm wet, hand still inside the machinery, listening to that sentence 3 times. The charge has been reversed. Just like that, a $14,000 mistake peeled off my back like a weightless sticker. Not forgiveness, not favor, just justice. I pulled my arm out, wiped it down, and looked around. 4 bays, 3 running. A Honda idling while the driver dug for quarters. A regular with his dachshund sticking its head out the window. The rhythm of a life I chose, not one that was assigned to me. Later that day, Mason showed up. Not with cameras, not with excuses, just him. Hoodie plain, eyes tired. I got the letter, he said, holding up an envelope. Says I might be liable for the charge if they find it was knowingly unauthorized. I nodded. You probably are. He didn't argue. Mom says you're still taking her to appointments. Yeah. And she's not crying as much. She's not hiding it as much either. He nodded, shoved his hands in his pockets. You really did it. What? You stopped. I shrugged. Had to. I wasn't helping anymore. I was enabling. He chuckled, bitter and admiring all at once. You read too many self-help books? No, I said. I just finally believed I deserved peace. We stood in silence, the kind that's not angry but unsure what comes next. Then he reached into his back pocket and handed me an envelope. What's this? I asked. My half of the balloon artist in the bubble machine, he said. Cash. I know it's not the helicopter, but it's a start. I took it. Didn't say thank you. Didn't hand him absolution. Just took it, because a start is a start. That night, I sat in my apartment with the envelope on the table, next to a notepad titled New Habits. Things on that list. Say no without explaining. Ask for help before you drown. Turn your phone off before bed. Only pay for what you believe in. Take soup to mom, not stress. I'm not cutting my family off. That's not the moral here. But I'm also not accepting every guilt-laced request wrapped in a bow of, you're just better at this. I wash cars. I run a small business. I count quarters and fix leaks. But I am not the leak fixer for every life spill, and I don't owe anyone my ability to function under pressure just because they can't. The next Sunday, I didn't go to dinner. I went hiking with a friend I'd said no to 12 weekends in a row. I turned off my phone, and at the top of the trail, with the sun bleeding through the trees, I whispered out loud, "This isn't about revenge." Then I smiled. "This is about closure." And for once, no one argued.